for the 2025 Games of the Year, baby. Oh yeah. So yes, obviously, like I said, a long time coming, a long time in production, but yeah, we do it every year. Wanted to show off the best games of the year and the best VR games of the year because I find that to be a major thing which gets missed by a lot of people. But yeah, so I'll just kick off by saying, yeah, the games on the Game of the Year list are only ones that we've finished. So there's some notable omissions. You'll be like, oh, I can't believe that's not on there. So yeah, because I haven't played much of it. So yeah, without any further ado, let me just make sure I'm getting this right. We've got to kick off with. We've got two of the honourable mentions, let's say, where they're not quite up there with the top 10, but I want to show them off because they're pretty cool. So if we go to the first one of those, it'll be Kaizen, A Factory Story. Let me know if you can hear the music because I can't hear it on this end. I don't know why that is the case, but yeah. So this is a really cool one that came out of nowhere. This guy Zachtronics does these kind of games like here, where it's like really technical, like assembly programs where you have to work out all sorts of like crazy maths and positioning and stuff. For this one, yeah, it's just the scenario. Like it's like you're in 1980s Japan and you're like making things with a company. It's got really cool music. It feels like it was at that era. You're making things that obviously they would make back then like this, and it just that really sent over the edge and made it incredible. You got like mini games. You got a cool story. I loved it, and it gets really like technical and cool. The only trouble is if I get rid of this. So that's honorable mention one. The only thing is, it ends really abruptly. Like you think, oh, it's getting going now. I've learned like all these things. Are we going to get any new elements, like apart from conveyor belts and stuff? And then it's like, oh, it's the end. So it's like apart from that's why I didn't make it onto the list. But it's just this one appeals to me greatly. Like sort of 1980s Japanese factory working is like not for everybody, but a big one for me. So then how do I do this? So if I go, you go back to like this and then this, right? So this is our other honourable mention. This is a lot of people's Game of the Year. It wasn't in mine because it's not quite good enough, but it is cool. The art style is incredible, and you've probably never seen anything like this. But yeah, you're basically in Ecuador, which is obviously a country you don't know that much about, and you're playing football because like the national team is in the World Cup or something, and you're a tiny kid who wants to get involved. And obviously you've got like your mum says, "Oh, get back by this time." You lose the ball. You go through a sort of Ecuadorian childhood, and the football mechanic's actually really good. Especially first person. I don't think there's probably any other game that does like first person footballing. And then it goes into really cool like meta stuff. Without spoiling it, it goes beyond just like you being in the scenario. It's very interesting towards the end. So yeah, very cool. It's one of those games definitely good to pick up cheap because it's quite short and you're not doing a whole lot, but it's definitely a very interesting project that I'm glad it exists. It just goes to show there's always new art styles on the horizon. You think you've seen it all. Right, hey kid, it's your birthday. Right, okay, so that's Despeloti. I don't know, this must be a fun way to say that, but I'm just going to call it that. Alright, so now let's get on to the actual top 10. Right, so moving on to numero 10 more. And it's the biggest surprise of the year by a long shot, which is Prince of Persia: The Rogue. Because notably, apart from Balatro, I'm not a roguelike guy. Like I don't like Slay the Spire, for example. Hades, I think is fine, but I'm not a huge fan. And even Dead Cells, which is the precursor to this, I liked it a lot, but I wouldn't have said it probably wouldn't have made my top 10. Maybe that would have been 10. But the reason this game is so good is it has probably the best, outside of one other game maybe, unbelievably good game feel. Like we always feel in complete control. You've got so many different moves you can do, and it's just fun to fight enemies. You never feel like there's any like canned animation or anything. You jump, then you run off a background wall, like you can see in the background. You're running on it like 3D. Then you jump off it, then you swing, and then you get a speed boost, like you see him doing it there, and then jump off an enemy. It's just, and like every roguelike, there's some builds you can get which are just absolutely ridiculous, where you just overpower everything and you destroy everybody, like set fire to them. But yeah, the really hard level design towards the end, those good bosses. Yeah, all the bosses in this are actually really well done, to be honest. So yeah, just a major shock that a roguelike was this good. It definitely makes the top 10. It's fantastic. Alright, so that is the Rogue, Prince of Persia. And the art style is cool as well. And the music's alright. Music doesn't really quite make the grade, but otherwise it's really good. Right, let's go on to numero 9 more. Split Fiction. This is a game that feels like it's 500 years old. Like it came out in like January or February, so it feels like it isn't even in this year. But impossible not to have this on the list. This is the best co-op game of the year, basically. The gameplay is cool all the way through. The story and writing is fine. It's not especially great, but all the gameplay is great. And at the very end, it's unbelievable. You can't imagine how good the last couple of levels in this game would be, and it's best not to like spoil it. But yeah, they obviously wanted to just push co-op gaming as far as they could. It rocks. Joseph Forrest just doesn't make a bad game. He doesn't even know how to do that. So I would say, out of these, Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons is probably still my favourite, but this is the next best and then A Way Out is really good, but probably below that. But yeah, so like I say, you don't want to give away too much, but all the different things you can do as two people have to cooperate to get through a stage. You turn into all sorts of different things, like you turn into a hot dog or like a bomb carrying person or whatever, or a dragon. Just they went absolutely wild with all the things you can do in this game. Fantastic. So yeah, strong recommend if you can co-op in. So that's your split Foxshons. Right, so on to the next one. This is a really cool one, definitely. Yeah, love this game. It's Citizen Sleeper 2. So this was what I was really hyped for, because Citizen Sleeper is a game that came out of nowhere like 2 or 3 years ago, and ended up quite high on my Game of the Year. It's like a really long, like narrative game where you're doing a lot of reading, so you have to be ready for that when you're playing it. But the stories they tell, like the writing is incredible, and all the improvements they've done over the first game are perfect. Like you've got these great, really stressful expeditions where you take certain crew members, they interact in different ways, narratively and like skills based, and you think you're going to lose, and then you manage to like eke out a win. It's really hard to sort of get that vibe from the trailer, because it's just like rolling dice and clicking on a map. But yeah, really incredible, some unbelievably good like emotional storytelling in this game, and characters that you definitely fall in love with. Yeah, so if you like, instead of like reading a visual novel or a book, this is the one. Like the narrative in this is stunning. So I can't wait for Citizen Sleeper 3 basically, or any DLC they make. Okay, so that's that one. It's cool. Yeah, some good art on that as well. Let's move on to Le Next Mall. It is another amazing surprise. This is awesomely good. Jesus Christ, Shinobi Art of Vengeance, man. This is the other game outside of Prince of Persia. This has the best feeling combat I've played in a long time. It's one of those games where it's funny because in Shinobi, it's not really about combat like the original ones. You just sort of throw a shuriken at a guy, he's dead, you carry on. But the combat in this is mind-blowing. It's one of those games where you constantly want to meet more enemies to fight them. You're not like annoyed there's enemies. It's like, oh, I can't wait to like combo this guy, fire some magic at him, then shuriken, and then dodge out of the way. He's running on a missile. Like there's virtually no bad bits. There's one level near the end which is not very good, but otherwise, all the challenges, I went back and did everything, like find all the secret maps and everything, and do the time jump challenges. Yeah, you got claws, you got a hang glider. It's just incredible. They absolutely ace this, and it's especially cool for me because like Lizard Cube, people rave about them, but I didn't think Streets of Rage 4 was that good. Like it's good, but compared to like Streets of Rage 2, it just didn't make the grade. But this is an absolute wonderful Shinobi game. Look at the art as well, insane. Just absolutely fits in with all the great Shinobi games like Revenge and Super Shinobi, and obviously the original Alex Kidd, the Shinobi world. But yeah, great game. Massively worth getting. The DLC sounds really good. It comes out next year, but you fight like Death Adder from Golden Axe, which I really good as well. Alright, so yeah, look, just the art all the way through it. And some of the music is really good. That's where this excels over Prince of Persia Rogue. Some of the music in this is amazingly good, like really good sort of, takeoffs of Yuzo Koshiro's original Shinobi stuff. Right, let's go on to the next mall. Alright, so yeah, this is huge as well. This is a game I've only just played. Skate Stories. Well, I wasn't really especially looking forward to it. Like, it looked good. You see the trailer, you think this is pretty cool. But, didn't expect too much from it apart from like a Tony Hawk like game, except you're a demon. I thought it was all like linear like this, where you're going straight into the screen, which it isn't. But yeah, it came out. It was on PlayStation Plus, so I thought, sure, I'll just try it. I don't know if I'll like it that much. But my God, yeah, this is an unbelievably good game. It is, especially towards the end. Like the music throughout is incredible. The places it goes, like narratively, really odd, sort of demonic stuff. It sort of shows up a lot of games with the like quite boring storytelling they're doing, where this is really going crazy. It's like Suda 51 wrote this basically. It feels like. But yeah, the last couple of levels you need to see to believe. If you start playing this game, you've got to try and finish it because it's just absolutely mind-blowing where it goes towards the end. Yeah, just extremely good game, way above expectations. So like I say, it's hard to say where this should be on the list because I've just played it. So obviously, when I played Split Fiction like 10 months ago, it's like, is it better than it? I think it is. It may be higher because it just has an effect on you. I think I'm going to remember this one for a long time to go. Scatty story, as they say. Right, let's go on to the next mall. This isn't about Switch 2, but there's no good trailer for this. I'll just say it because you probably can't even get it from this. It's Deltarune Chapters 3 and 4, because Undertale was a huge game, obviously, that everyone likes. Then Deltarune came out, and they're very slowly reaching like Chapters 1 and 2. But 3 and 4, like this is the game which is most, like the best example of this is Last of Us Part 2, where you play a game and then you go to work and you're like, oh, I can't wait to get back to it, and then as soon as you get home you just play it. Like this is that game for this year, where when I started playing this, I didn't do anything else, didn't play anything else, I just played it. Obviously go to work, sleep, play it again, just keep playing it until it's done, which is not that long, to be honest. It's like about 8 hours maybe. but the music is absolutely top-notch. It's incredible. There's so much writing gameplay, really good humor, which is what this is known for. Like, because it's not easy to make a game that's actually funny, but this is. And like, just good story development, great characters. It just absolutely nails everything. Unbelievable. Well, you know, it's one of those when you're building the list, you think, how high is this going to be? And then you say, is it better than this? Yes, is it better than this? And it just kept going up. I was like, Jesus, this is actually one of the best games of the year, and it's a must play, basically. And it's really cheap as well, bizarrely. Right, okay, let's go on to next more, which is going to be this. Yeah, these are all absolutely amazing now. So this is one which, this shows like how you can be disappointed in a game and still be one of the best games of the year. Because like Death Stranding 1 was the best game of the year it came out, and by quite a way. Whereas this is an amazing game, but it's not the best game of the year. Like I think it's about fourth is about right. But obviously it's incredible, and you know, a game that ends unbelievably strongly. All the stuff with this guy, whatever I name is, I can't remember. He's Snake basically by any other name. Is awesome, and it ties in really well. Like, it's a bit more understandable this as well, where some of the stuff you do is absolutely crazy, but by the end you should be able to work out what was going on. They explain it a little bit better than they did in the other ones, but not too much. And obviously all the like things you can do, like monorails, driving around, like all sorts of crazy transport in this one, which to me I think actually made it a bit too easy. You had so many different ways you could get around, but they've got to like up the ante. They couldn't like give you less ways to get around. I guess I suppose the sort of thing Kojima might do, but yeah, unbelievable. Obviously, it's probably the best looking game of the year as well. It's just stunning all the way through. But yeah, you don't really see much of the game in this trailer, but you know, it's Death Stranding. You don't really need to know. It's just you're walking along cool environments and then driving around and monorailing around it. So yeah, very good game. All right, so Death Stranding 2, and then yeah, these next three are all basically 10 out of 10s. Could equally win Game of the Year. Basically, they're just insane. So if you go to, so one, Blueprints is just, it's like an actual equal to Fez, where you know you got these like very brain-based games where you have to write down loads outside the game. You know, you almost need an entire booklet of stuff you've written to try and work out what's going on. It's a game which is surreal. It doesn't seem possible how they made it this deep. You know, you're going through at the beginning, oh, what's in this room? I'll just write down some things, you know, as pictures. I've worked out this puzzle, and then it goes to another layer where it's like those puzzles come together to form this. Then you're like combining items. Then you're doing all sorts of unexpected things with that. Then you're going outside the mansion, doing all this stuff. Like it's unreal. The amount I say I've finished this. I have finished it to like see all the rooms in the game, but I think there's actually more to do. I just can't really understand what that is. It's unfathomable from where you start this game to where you like 30 hours in. What you're actually doing is crazy. I would say, like, I would try this game if you don't know if you're going to like it, and make sure you get to the Rumpus room. Once you've seen that, you get a bit of an idea of, oh my god, this game's a lot more than I thought it was going to be. It's huge. Yeah, it's stunning achievement. Which it's one of those games, again, they've made this, but if someone tried to make a game like this but better, it would take forever. So many years of trying to like layer all these puzzles on top of each other, balance them, make them good and everything. Crazy. It's a stunning achievement. Alright, so you're down to the top two. Most people probably can work out what these top two would be, because they're the two best games I think most people think of the year. But the order, I think, for me is different to most people. So if I go to Peggy 18.
Peggy 18.
So yeah, this is obviously the winner of the Game of the Year at the TGAs, and without a shadow of a doubt, yeah, it's the best JRPG in years. It's Expedition 33. I mean, what can be said? The soundtrack to this is the best of the entire year. It's just absolutely ridiculous. I'm still listening to it now. The themes and like what this game, you know, makes it like emotively makes you feel is just unbelievable. Best characters in this year as well. And I would say, yeah, the thing I love about this game is it puts a lot of other games like RPGs and narrative games to shame, where a lot of games take a while to build up. You're like, okay, I'm getting introduced to the characters and the world a little bit, and then we go off and do this stuff, and then by end of Act 2, it's like, oh wow, let's look at this thing. This game just does not waste any time. They're so clever at how they do it. Like, you know, you meet the characters early on, bad things are happening straight away as part of the world, and then by the time you get to the very start of Act 1, outside of the prologue, it's like, holy shit, like it is going places massively very early, and you're just like, my god, this is going to be special. And it is. Like, the combat, all the super bosses are really cool and interesting. The combinations you can do, and all the build of your party is really interesting and great. All the characters are different. There's some busted combos that are really fun to pull off. And it's just, yeah, I mean, narratively and musically, it's a god tier game. It's like 10 out of 10, and this is going to be remembered for years to come. Yeah, just simply an easy pick for second best game of the year. And the only one using the other one's better because it's very like personal to me. Whereas this one, yeah, I think in many other years would easily win. So if I get off that, so that's the Expedition of 33. I love how that came out of nowhere as well. Like when I first saw the trailer, I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be a good game. I was like in on it straight away, but not at all thinking it'd be like this. I thought, oh, I like the way you have. It's like Lost Odyssey basically, but this is better than Lost Odyssey. Right, so we go on to the best game of the year, best non-VR game of the year. You ready? It's pretty obvious. Just seeing that alone, you get it. It's Hollow Knight's Silk Song, which is just about the best Metroidvania ever made, and just an ungodly. Another game where it took them forever to make, and it's like no surprise. Like no one will be able to match this without like an insane amount of development. A game that just goes on and on. I think I had 50 hours in this, which is ridiculous for a Metroidvania. Yeah, by the time you get to end of Act 2 in this game, you think, wow, this is already like longer than most Metroidvanias have ever been, and then Act 3 is absolutely ridiculous. So yeah, the game is an easy winner for me. Like it has very like punishing gameplay throughout, where it's nearly impossible most of the time, and that's what really appeals to me, and that's what puts it on for me, because that's what I love. Like you're desperate trying to fight bosses and get away with it and survive. The very last boss fight in this is like simply the most desperate battle I've ever been in, where you're constantly like, oh my god, I'm gonna die, and you're like, please die, and you're constantly on edge moving like. So yeah, absolute phenomenon. And you know, talking about this game, if you haven't played it, you can't imagine just how big the game is. Absolutely ridiculous. If you're not an expert gaming, good for 100 hours probably. Yeah, 40 level bosses. It's insane. So yeah, easy. Right, okay, so now, what's the best way to do this? So if I go here, yeah, so then top VR games of the year, we typically do top 3 for this, but like I said, I only want to do ones that I've finished, or we finished, so I only do top 2 here, and one of them is just simply one of the greatest games of the generation, and it's the best VR game ever made, I think. So if we go, how does this work? I have to go here, I think? Yeah. So this is the number 2 of the year. One of the great final boss fights of our time in this game, Arcanage, came out of nowhere, very cheap game to buy. I just thought, it'll just be a little tide me over game between them, but my god, it is incredible. Like the mechanics in this, from all the climbing, all the weapons, and the weapon upgrading is better than choice and use and everything. The combat is really good. It's very difficult. You have to feel like under stress all the time. You've got time to work out like grenades, shields, guns. I don't recognise that. The bosses in this are formidable. Like massive things jumping towards VR are always scary, and they've got amazing capabilities. And it's really, really hard to kill. So truly good place for VR. So if we go there, so the Arcanage. And then, Jim will know this already. This is simply the best VR game ever made up to this point, which is Hitman: World of Assassination VR, which is really funny to say, because I think most people will probably ignore this because it didn't have much fanfare. There's hardly any marketing. And also, they did a VR version of this on PlayStation VR 1, which wasn't very good, so that might have put people off. Like it didn't make us want to play it. But yeah, this is a ludicrous game. Like it's probably the longest VR game that's ever been made, where you've got all 3 Hitman games. It's like, I think it's like 18 stages, and each one is massive and hugely replayable. Like there's no possible way to do them all in one go. So you've got and there's like a roguelike mode, and there's timed events. It's crazy. This is the definitive VR game. The AI in this game is incredible. That's what makes it like you feel like you're in a living world, where there's just insane things they've thought of you'd never imagine. Where you can pick people step on bananas. But I'll put on a chef outfit, and you walk down the street in the game of VR, immersed, and then some guy walks up to you and goes, "Hey, what's cooking?" Because he's actually detected that you're wearing that, and that's like a random NPC. Like, it just feels like you're in a real place. You'll like kill a baddie, and if you're not detected, you'll hide somewhere, and then some other baddie will notice it. They'll come and get a body bag, put him in a body bag, and then take him out to like the cemetery. It's just like it's a staggering game, especially because it's like no one seems to talk about it, and they didn't even really market it. It was just like, we don't really care about this game, but what are you doing? This is better than Half-Life Alyx. It's the best VR game ever made. Crazy. An automatic get for anybody who has PlayStation VR 2, I would say. A crazily good game. Alright, so okay. And then, what's left? So we've got the best games that were like, I haven't finished them, so they're not on the list. Obviously, Ghost of Yota, I think, is the one that most people will probably surprised it's not on here, because I've only played a little bit of it. It's one of those games where you need to be in a certain mindset to big open world, and you've got to do all this stuff, and you've got a lot of story and stuff. So when you want to play an easy game, you're just like chilling out. It's not really the one for that. You need to be sort of a bit more into it. So I've just been leaving it for quite a while. But what I've played is great, and really good story twists early on, which make it more interesting than it originally appears. So I've got a feeling that's going to be up there. And then the game I'm currently playing right now, just before I was doing this, which is awesomely good, unbeatable. I would say watch a trailer of that game. I haven't put one here. It's insane. It's like Scott Pilgrim the movie, but the game, where you've got amazing like anime art and really good direction and like music put together. Just yeah, awesome. Looks like it's really good. I suspect that'll be in the top 10. Earthian is an awesome Mega Drive game that came out this year, like an actual Mega Drive game with Yuzo Koshiro in it, which and like the that's probably the best 16-bit shoot 'em up ever made. Okay, they've had more time to make it than anyone in the past would have done. But yeah, it's phenomenal. There's so much good graphical and musical effects in that game. It's an auto get if you like any horizontal shoot 'em up basically. And then Clover Pit is a weird one. Like it's another Balatro where it's a roguelike where you have a not a vending machine, a gambling machine. What do you call it? One-arm bandit, where you do that. And so you'd think, well, that's a terrible game. You're just constantly like, doing reels and winning things on a gambling machine. But it is like very clever. You've got all these like idols, and it's got a really weird PlayStation 1 horror vibe to it. So it's not as good as Balatro, but I was surprised I really got into it. I was like, it has a lot of interesting things going on. And then the last one was going to be our other VR game of the year, which is Wanderer, but we haven't finished yet, probably not even halfway through, where that game is really good, like VR interactions, where you can do so many things. When you're in VR, people always are interested in what can I interact with, because don't just put something on a table if I'm like going to just not interact with it. Whereas in this, you've got things like you'll get a water pistol, you can take the bottle out of the water pistol, then you can go to a tap, fill up the water, and put it back in, and then pump it, and it's like that's all real interactions. And from the trailer, you can put fuel in it and do a fire coming out of it. And there's all sorts of things. You've got cassettes you can play, you've got video camera, you've got all the things you want in the game. And you can like rub things off a mirror to like clean it up and things like that. It's just and really interesting scenarios because you're going through time, so you can go to the moon or to the past or whatever. So yeah, that's an absolutely brilliant game, and I think that'll probably end up being the second best VR game this year. But obviously we haven't finished, we haven't got that far in it, so I can't really say. And then the final thing we always do is the best game that we played this year that it didn't actually come out this year. So there's two this year again, because it's quite often two nowadays, because I play a lot of good games, as it turns out. And these two are The Matrix, Path of Neo, which is just probably one of the best Xbox games ever made. That blew me away more than anything I could have ever imagined. Like The Matrix, like Enter the Matrix, the game that most people probably played, like the first Matrix game that came out on Xbox, is just really average. It's not really notable. It's not very exciting. But the Path of Neo is ludicrous, really incredible like achievement from the amount of different things you're doing. All three films, which is crazy. I didn't realize that. Plus loads of intermission bits that they've added in. So like you're playing almost like 6 games worth of content. The animations are incredible. The amount of different animations for every scenario. If there's 2 enemies attacking you, you've got a pole. There's an animation for that. If you've got like unarmed and there's 3 different enemies in points, there's an animation for that. You can block enemies in certain ways. It just seems another impossible game where it's like, why isn't people talking about this game? It's ridiculously good. So yeah, obviously loads of good shooting, jumping off walls, all the like Matrix stuff. So that, yeah, ridiculous game that I think most people have missed, and I strongly recommend to play it. And then the other one is Plague Tale Requiem, which I knew would be good, but I didn't expect. It's almost like a Last of Us 2 level game in more than one way, because it's like the graphics are absolutely stunning and the storytelling's really good, but it's one of those games where it's like very misery based, where people didn't like Last of Us 2 too much sometimes because it's just so sad and miserable all the time, where only bad things are happening. In this, it almost feels like worse, because it feels like it's forced a bit, where bad things happening and you're trying to get through them, but then it just keeps layering on towards the end. That's the only thing about Plague Tale I would say is it probably should have finished 2 chapters ahead of when it did, because it's just like terrible things are constantly happening to you and the kid, and it's like, but like, what, can we have anything nice in this game at all? No, but I guess not. But yeah, gameplay really good, voice acting, and just the places and how it looks. Like you go into towns and that looks beautiful. A truly great game. Just maybe a little bit too long. But that is it. That is our whole top 10 for the year. All right, dudes. Yeah, so another fantastic year for gaming. There's countless other great games that came out that we didn't get too much from. I really want to play Sectori. That looks like it'd be really good. Birdcage looks really good. Um, Obviously Ghost. And it's just like Lumines or Lumines. It's just a shocking amount of great games. Terminator 2D, Fate or whatever. But yeah, very happy that there's plenty of problems in the gaming industry, but as far as the games that are getting released, it's really good. So, okay, dudes, it's been a pleasure. Of course, we'll be doing the same next year. I guess all that's left to say is thank you very much for watching, and we'll catch you next time on Retro Gamer J. Bye.